never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Brian Giles with Brian Giles MTG. And we're back with more Aetherdrift spoilers. So starting our list off today, we have the Speed Demon. 2 black and 3 for a 5/5 legendary demon with Flample, Flying, and Trample. As start your engines, at the beginning of your end step, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is your speed. So, hoo-ha. Next up, we have Pride of the Road. Which is a white and 3 for a 2/5 zombie cat warrior. As Vigilance, start your engines. When you have max speed at the beginning of combat in your turn, target creature vehicle you control gains double strike till end of turn. Hoo-ha! Next up, we have Diversion Unit. So it's a blue and 2 for a 2/1 artifact creature robot. It has flying. You can pay a blue and sacrifice this creature to counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 3 generic. Ew! So this is a kind of a living counter spell. Single blue mana? Counterspell? Yeah, that's a blue thing. Blue players are going to like that. Next up we have Gastel Blockbuster. A red and 2 for a 3/2 human berserker. As creature enters, you may sacrifice a creature or vehicle. When you do, destroy target artifact an opponent controls. Hoo-ha. Next up we have Luxodon Surveyor. A green and 2 for a 3/3 elephant scout with starter engines. When it has max speed, you may pay 3 generic and exile this card from your graveyard to draw a card. Hoo-ha. More card draw green. Okay. Now we've gone over the Velhart bike already, which is actually pretty decent. So next up is the Scrap Compactor. Single generic mana for an artifact that reads, pay 3 and sacrifice this artifact to deal 3 damage to target creature. Okay, not bad. Pay 6 generic and tap and sacrifice this, destroy target creature or vehicle. Spend a little bit more, you get a different target to destroy. I don't know how good that'll be, but maybe it'll find a spot in Limited. Hoo-ha. Next up, we cue the music to Mario Kart 64. So this is Spike Shell Harrier. A blue and 4 for a 4/4 artifact creature robot turtle. Now, doesn't this look like the blue spiky shell from Mario Kart 64? When this creature enters, return target creature or vehicle opponent controls to its owner's hand. And well, that's exactly what that spiky shell does. if that opponent's speed is greater than each other player's speed, reduce that opponent's speed by 1. Yes, yep. This effect cannot reduce their speed below 1. Yep, that's exactly what that spike shell does. And that's probably a little nod to Mario Kart 64. So, hoo-ha. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Then we have Daring Mechanic, a white and 2 for a 3/3 human artificer that you can pay a white and 3 to put a +1/+1 counter on target mount or vehicle. We have Spire Mech Cycle, a red and 4 for a 5/4 vehicle with haste, and has an exhaust ability of tapped another untapped mount or vehicle you control. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature and put a +1/+1 counter on it for each mount and or vehicle you control other than this vehicle. Crew it for 2. Okay. That's decent. Next up, we have Trade the Helm. A blue and 4 for a sorcery that reads, exchange control of target artifact or creature you control, and target artifact or creature an opponent controls, cycle it for 2. Well, that's an interesting card. I mean, especially if you have something like a Wishclaw Talisman that's going to, or something that's going to be detrimental to your opponent if they control it. So, hoo-ha. We have Collision Course. We may have covered this earlier, but we'll go over it again just to be sure. White and 1 for sorcery that reads, choose 1. Collision Course deals X damage to target creature, where X is the number of permanents you control that are creatures and or vehicles, or destroy target artifact. We have Afterburner Expert. A green and 2 for a 4/2 Goblin Artificer with an exhaust ability of 2 green and 2 to put 2 +1/+1 counters on this creature. And whenever you activate an exhaust ability, return this card from your graveyard to the battle. Wow! Wow! So this thing in a recursion deck is just baller. Pay the four to give it 2 +1/+1 counters on it, making it a 6/4. And then, if it dies, you can activate an exhaust ability of something else and bring this right back to the battlefield. Yeah, I'm down with that. In a recursion deck, this thing is just going to be fun. We have Pit Automaton. 2 generic for a 0/4 artifact creature construct. As Defender, tap it to add 2 generic. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. Pay 2 generic and tap it. When you next activate an exhaust ability this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Ew, that sounds fun. We have Rise from the Wreck. This card is insane. Listen to what this card does. It's a green and 2 for a sorcery It says return up to one target creature card, up to one target mount card, up to one target vehicle card, and one target creature card with no abilities from your graveyard to your hand. You get 4 things back to your hand, up to 4 things for 3 mana. It's sorcery speed, but if somebody just board wipes you, you can bring all that stuff back and just slap stuff back down on your next turn. Wow, that's incredibly powerful, and it's only an uncommon. So next up we have Fang Druid Summoner. Now this thing is very important to part of that strategy about cards that have no abilities. So he's a green and 3 for 2/4 Ape Druid with Reach. This creature enters, you may search your library and or graveyard for a creature card with no abilities. Reveal it, put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. So this is a guy that cares about creatures, also cares about creatures with no ability, vanilla creatures. Now, in the Rosewater spoilers, if you were watching my video and you remember correctly, there was supposed to be a cycle of legendary creatures that were vanilla. And starting our list off, we have Calyx Scion Hunger Tyrant. For 2 black and 1, you get a 7/2 vanilla legendary crocodile. For 3 mana, you get a 7/2 crocodile. That could change things really badly in the early game. Next up, we have Tyrox Saurid Tyrant. A red and 1 for a 4/1 legendary dinosaur warrior. So, again, another thing in the early game to really change the battlefield. And a third of these vanilla legendaries is Terrian World Tyrant. So 3 green and 2, you get a 9/7 legendary dinosaur ooze. So it seems like they're trying to push kind of an ooze tribal going on. Now, if you have yourself some stuff to protect that, I mean, mid-game, a 9/7 for 5 mana is just powerful. Yes, it still dies to removal. Yes, it's generic. There's no abilities on it. But it's certainly bigger than a Colossal Dreadmaw at 1 less mana. No trample, but still hoo-ha. Then we have Spectacular Collision. Now this is in the Japanese, but it's 2 white and 3 for a sorcery that reads, all creatures and vehicles lose indestructible till end of turn, then destroy all creatures and vehicles. Cycle it for 2. 5 mana, board wipe that gets around the indestructible stuff. Yeah, that's gonna feel good in the morning. And it has a cycle ability on it too, so, if you're not needing it right away, or, you want something else, you can cycle it for 2. And there's some stuff, in this set too that focused around discarding cards. So I'm not unhappy with this. I'm gonna say that's a pretty good board wipe. Hoo-ha. Next up, we have Adrenaline Junkie, another card name that was mentioned in the Rosewater spoilers. So this is in the Italian, so we have to go to the translation. So a red and 2 for a 3/3 Minotaur pilot. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it isn't their turn, this creature deals 4 damage to that player? Ouch! Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Okay. So this is, this is going to be focused in your exhaust deck. Okay. That's not bad at all. Next up, we have another Italian card in Steer Hill Beetle. A black, a green, and 2 for a 6/6 vehicle with trample. When it enters, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Crew it for 2. Okay, some more life gain. Another life gain vehicle. Deal some damage. Definitely goes in that recursion theme that we were looking at earlier. So, hoo-ha. Well, let's see if we got any more cards coming up here. So we have Detention Chariot. So kind of a beefy 2 white and 4 for a 6/6 vehicle. When it enters, exile target artifact creature opponent controls until this vehicle leaves the battlefield. Crew it for 3 and cycle it for a white. So it has an imprison ability, and you can cycle it. So, not so bad. We have Rides and so a white and 4 for an instant that reads. This spell costs 3 generic less to cast if it targets a tapped permanent. Exile target creature or vehicle. Okay, removal that cares about tap stuff. It's okay. You want to be targeting tap stuff, so it's, white and 1, so. We have Flood the Engine, another name that was mentioned in the Rosewater spoilers. Blue and 2 for an enchantment aura, enchant creature or vehicle. When this aura enters, tap enchanted permanent. Enchanted permanent loses all abilities. It doesn't untap during its controller's untapped tap. Ew. Okay, that that could do all sorts of stuff. Unstoppable Plan. Blue and 2 for an enchantment that reads, at the beginning of your end step, untap all non-land permanents you control. Okay, well, that's going to be interesting. We have Ripclaw Wrangler. Black and 3 for a 4/3 vehicle. When it enters, each opponent discards a card. Drew it for 2. Okay. Okay, next up we have Mimeoplasm. Revered One. Well, the return of the Mimeoplasm. So it's a black, a green, a blue, and X for a 0/0 legendary ooze. When it enters, exile up to X target creature cards from your graveyard. It enters with 3+1/+1 counters on it for each creature exiled this way. Pay 2 generic. Mimeoplasm becomes a copy of target creature exiled with it, except it's a 0/0 and has this ability. Okay, this is kind of weird. That's a really weird version of the Mimeoplasm. Okay, it's different, definitely different. And we have Green Belt Guardian. A green and 1 for a 2/2 Elf Ranger has pay green for to give target creature trample till end of turn, and an exhaust ability of a green and 3 to put 3+1/+1 counters on this creature. Okay, so yeah. Well, we're at 23 minutes. We're going to end this video and say, hoo-ha, we'll see you on the next video.